Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something truly incredible. The top 10 most valuable Australian halfpennies. These tiny coins, once worth just a fraction of a penny, are now commanding jaw-dropping prices, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even nearly $500,000. Stick around, because some of these coins are so rare, you might never see another one in your lifetime. Number 10. 1927 Australian 1 halfpenny. The 1927 Australian 1 halfpenny is a perfect example of this transformation. Struck during a period of dramatic national change, this coin is valued not simply because of its age or its metal content, but because of the story it tells and the rarity it represents. Today, this halfpenny commands an astonishing price tag of $37,800 at auction, a testament to its allure for collectors around the globe. To understand why the 1927 1 halfpenny holds such prominence, one must consider the social and economic climate of Australia in the late 1920s. This was a period characterized by optimism but shadowed by the looming Great Depression. Australia, still forging its national identity after Federation in 1901, was working to establish its financial stability. The minting of coins during this era wasn't just about facilitating trade, it was also a statement of independence, self-sufficiency, and pride. The 1927 halfpenny, with its classical design and carefully executed detail, represents that determination. What makes this particular coin so highly sought after is its scarcity. Fewer were produced compared to other years, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. Most circulated examples from the 1920s show signs of heavy use, as coins remained in circulation for decades. Finding a 1927 1 halfpenny that retains sharp definition, minimal wear and strong luster is an achievement in itself. Condition is everything in numismatics, and this coin's top auction value is tied directly to the fact that so few premium-grade specimens exist. Collectors often describe such coins as the crown jewels of the halfpenny series, elevating them far beyond ordinary collectible status. But rarity and condition are only part of the equation. The 1927 halfpenny also carries immense cultural resonance. It reflects the artistry of early 20th century minting techniques, where balance, symmetry, and timeless typography were valued. Its aesthetic appeal enhances its desirability, making it not just a piece of history, but also a miniature work of art. Additionally, its connection to an era just before the world would be thrust into economic turmoil lends it an almost symbolic weight. To own a 1927 1 halfpenny is to hold a reminder of Australia's resilience and the fragility of global stability in that era. Collectors worldwide compete fiercely when such a coin becomes available. Auction houses often see spirited bidding wars, as investors, historians, and passionate numismatists recognize the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that comes with securing such a specimen. For many, it is not only an acquisition but also an investment, since coins of this caliber have shown a consistent upward trajectory in value over time. The 1927 halfpenny's record of selling for nearly $37,800 underscores its standing as one of the most valuable Australian bronze coins ever minted. In essence, the 1927 Australian 1 halfpenny is far more than a monetary instrument. It is a tangible link to Australia's formative decades, a piece of artistry preserved against the odds, and a rare gem that commands the respect of collectors everywhere. Each surviving example is a story in metal, a testament to craftsmanship, and a cornerstone in the portfolios of serious investors in rare currency. Its market value may be measurable in dollars, but its historical and cultural worth extends far beyond price tags. Number 9. 1911 Australian 1 halfpenny. Among the rarest treasures of Australian coinage, the 1911 Australian 1 halfpenny stands out as a historic milestone. This coin, which today commands an extraordinary market value of $44,200, is not only remarkable for its rarity, but also for the significant place it occupies in Australia's national narrative. Unlike many other collectible coins, the 1911 halfpenny is not just valuable because it is old. It is cherished because it represents the very beginning of Australia's independent coinage system. It is, in every sense, the foundation stone of a new monetary identity. The year 1911 marked a turning point in the financial and political life of the Commonwealth of Australia. Only a decade after Federation, the young nation was eager to establish its own currency, distinct from the British coins that had dominated circulation. The 1911 halfpenny was the very first halfpenny issued under the name of the Commonwealth of Australia, and it instantly became a symbol of sovereignty and national pride. To hold such a coin was to physically touch the origins of Australia's financial independence, a tangible reminder that the nation was charting its own course. What heightens the allure of the 1911 halfpenny is its rarity and high grades. While it was the first year of issue and a relatively large number were minted for circulation, the vast majority of these coins endured heavy use. Halfpennies were small denomination coins intended for daily transactions, and thus they remained in circulation for decades, enduring wear and tear that stripped them of sharp detail and original luster. For this reason, examples in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition are vanishingly rare. When such a specimen surfaces at auction, collectors know they are witnessing something exceptional, a piece of Australian numismatic history preserved in almost pristine form against impossible odds. The design of the coin itself adds to its desirability. The obverse features the effigy of King George V, who had just ascended to the throne in 1910, making this coin not only Australia's first halfpenny, but also the first to bear the likeness of this monarch in the Commonwealth's coinage series. The reverse displays the simple yet dignified Commonwealth of Australia inscription with the denomination at its centre, framed by elegant flourishes that reflect the refined artistry of early 20th century minting. The balance between functionality and beauty in its design ensured its practicality for commerce while elevating it to a timeless work of coinage art. Numismatists often emphasize that coins like the 1911 halfpenny are not merely collector's items, they are historical documents struck in metal. Each specimen is a silent witness to a time when Australia was still a fledgling federation, balancing its identity as a proud nation while maintaining close ties to the British Empire. For historians and collectors alike, this coin embodies the tension and promise of that era. The fact that it has reached a staggering valuation of over $44,000 only reinforces the way rarity and symbolism converge to create immense demand. Auction records reveal the passion this coin inspires. When a high-grade 1911 halfpenny comes up for sale, bidding wars break out as collectors, investors, and museums compete for ownership. Its value is not speculative alone, it is grounded in the unshakable certainty that no more of these coins will ever be minted, and that surviving examples will only become scarcer with time. For serious numismatists, the 1911 halfpenny represents the ultimate prize, the inaugural coin of Australia's national halfpenny series, a piece of tangible history that connects its owner directly to the birth of the nation's currency system. From an investment perspective, its trajectory has been consistently upward. Unlike more common coins that fluctuate with collector trends, the 1911 halfpenny has demonstrated resilience in the rare coin market. Its uniqueness as the first issue means its value is underpinned by historical significance, not just scarcity. In other words, its worth is unlikely to diminish. If anything, it continues to climb as demand grows internationally. Investors see it as a blue-chip acquisition in the numismatic world, akin to owning a masterpiece painting or a rare historical manuscript. In summary, the 1911 Australian One halfpenny is not just a coin, it is a cornerstone of Australian heritage. With its combination of historical importance, design excellence, rarity in high grades, and unshakable investment potential, It captures the imagination of collectors in a way few coins can. Its $44,200 market value reflects more than monetary worth. It represents national pride, numismatic prestige, and the timeless appeal of holding the very first chapter of a nation's coinage story. For those fortunate enough to own one, it is not simply an asset. It is a legacy preserved in bronze. Number 8. 1921 Australian one halfpenny. When examining the legendary rarities of early Australian coinage, the 1921 Australian one halfpenny holds a commanding position, with an auction value soaring to $56,900. This coin is celebrated not only for its scarcity, but also for the unique circumstances surrounding its production. Unlike common circulation coins, the 1921 halfpenny is recognized as one of the rarest issues in the bronze series, and its story illustrates how economic shifts, minting challenges, and the passage of time converged to create an extraordinary collectible. The 1920s were turbulent years for Australia's economy. Emerging from the aftershocks of the First World War, the nation faced the complexities of rebuilding its industries, dealing with inflation, and preparing for new economic realities. In this environment, coinage production became inconsistent, and certain years saw very limited mintages. The 1921 halfpenny was struck in such small numbers that even during its time, it was scarcely encountered in everyday circulation. While millions of halfpennies were minted across different years, the 1921 issue was restricted to a fraction of that output, immediately placing it on the trajectory of rarity. Collectors value this coin for more than just its scarcity. It is also admired for its artistry and symbolism. The obverse features the portrait of King George V, the steady monarch during an era of post-war recovery, while the reverse bears the clean and dignified Commonwealth of Australia design with the denomination at its heart. Its restrained elegance reflects the practical, understated values of the time. But what truly elevates this coin is the fact that so few have survived in high-grade condition. Most 1921 halfpennies were heavily circulated, worn down through years of use, leaving only a handful of exceptional specimens that have retained their sharp definition and original surfaces. When one of these coins appears at auction in premium condition, the numismatic world takes notice. Collectors from across continents converge in spirited bidding battles, each knowing that opportunities to secure this rarity are few and far between. The record-setting sale of nearly $57,000 for a superb specimen reflects not just the coin's rarity, but the extraordinary passion it inspires. To many numismatists, it is considered the holy grail of Australian bronze coinage. What makes the 1921 halfpenny especially intriguing is how its rarity was not fully appreciated until decades after it was struck. Unlike some coins whose low mintages were recognized immediately, the scarcity of this piece only became apparent as collectors sought to complete their halfpenny sets and discovered that 1921 was nearly impossible to find in top grades. This gradual realization only heightened its mystique, transforming it into a coveted centerpiece of serious collections. In the investment world, this coin has proven to be remarkably strong. Unlike speculative modern commemoratives, the 1921 halfpenny is underpinned by genuine rarity and irreplaceable historical context. Its trajectory has been steadily upward, with each new record-setting sale establishing its status as one of the blue-chip assets in the Australian numismatic market. For museums, investors, and seasoned collectors, it represents the pinnacle of opportunity, a piece that not only appreciates in value but also connects its holder to a defining moment in the nation's coinage history. The 1921 Australian one halfpenny is therefore more than a coin. It is a story preserved in bronze. It speaks of a nation still finding its economic footing, of the artistry of early minting, and of the relentless passage of time that left only a handful of pristine survivors. Its extraordinary valuation of $56,900 is a reflection of the reverence it commands, making it an indispensable prize for anyone who seeks to hold the rarest treasures of Australia's monetary legacy. Number 7. 1919 Australian one halfpenny. The 1919 Australian one halfpenny is one of the true legends of early Commonwealth bronze coinage, a rarity whose market value has soared to an extraordinary $72,300 in high-grade examples. More than a century after its release, this coin stands as both a historical artifact of post-World War I Australia and one of the most coveted rarities in the halfpenny series. The year 1919 marked a fragile moment in history. The First World War had ended just months earlier, but its shadow still loomed large over the world. Australia, having made profound sacrifices on the battlefield and at home, was a nation in transition, rebuilding its economy, redefining its place within the British Empire, and navigating new realities of peace. Coin production during this era reflected those challenges. While demand for currency remained high, minting resources were stretched thin, and certain denominations, such as the halfpenny, were struck in far smaller numbers than in other years. The 1919 issue is one of those low mintage anomalies, an unassuming coin that became a rarity through circumstance rather than design. Adding to its mystique is the fact that the 1919 halfpenny circulated heavily during the early 20th century, meaning that the vast majority of surviving examples are worn and degraded. High-grade specimens with strong details, natural luster, and minimal signs of handling are exceptionally rare. This survival factor plays a central role in its valuation. While thousands may have once existed, only a tiny fraction remain in collectible condition, and even fewer achieve the level of preservation required to command six-figure bidding battles. The coin's design follows the classical Commonwealth pattern. The obverse carries the regal portrait of King George V, the steady monarch whose reign guided Australia through both war and recovery. The reverse features the familiar inscription Commonwealth of Australia, framing the denomination. At its center, simple, symmetrical and dignified, the design reflects the practicality of its time. Yet in the case of the 1919 issue, this otherwise standard appearance conceals a treasure of immense rarity. When a premium specimen of the 1919 halfpenny is offered at auction, it immediately becomes a focal point for international collectors. The rarity is so great that bidding wars are inevitable, each increment driving the price higher as passionate numismatists compete for ownership of this elusive piece. The record-setting price of $70,300 demonstrates both the scarcity of the coin and the relentless demand it inspires. For serious collectors of Australian bronze, the 1919 halfpenny is not optional, it is essential. The cornerstone that separates a strong collection from a truly world-class one. From an investment perspective, the 1919 halfpenny is considered a fortress asset. Its rarity is absolute, its market recognition is universal, and its historical importance is undeniable. Unlike speculative modern commemoratives, its value is rooted in enduring scarcity and cultural heritage. Each generation of collectors fuels its desirability, ensuring that its trajectory remains upward over time. Investors who secure one are not just acquiring a coin, they are securing a piece of national history whose value will only grow as surviving numbers continue to dwindle. In summary, the 1919 Australian one halfpenny is a numismatic masterpiece. With its combination of historical significance, extreme rarity, and breathtaking valuation of $72,300, it embodies everything collectors treasure in a coin. It is more than bronze. It is a story of resilience after war, a symbol of early Commonwealth coinage, and one of the most enduring rarities in Australia's rich numismatic legacy. Number 6. 1939 Australian one halfpenny. In the hierarchy of Australian numismatic treasures, few coins generate as much fascination as the 1939 Australian one halfpenny, a piece that today commands staggering valuations of up to $88,500. This coin is not simply a product of its era, but a direct consequence of one of the most dramatic shifts in Australia's coinage history. Known among collectors as the kangaroo reverse halfpenny, the The 1939 issue occupies a singular position because it represents both an ending and a beginning, the conclusion of the classical Commonwealth design and the introduction of a new, distinctly Australian symbol into national coinage. The story of the 1939 halfpenny begins with a transition in design. For decades, Australian bronze coins bore the simple yet dignified Commonwealth of Australia motif, with the denomination displayed within a central circle. But by the late 1930s, sentiment was building for a design that would better capture national identity. The kangaroo, already recognized globally as a unique emblem of Australia, was chosen to symbolize this shift. Thus, in 1939, the reverse of the halfpenny was transformed. Out went the old Commonwealth inscription, and in came the bounding kangaroo, a bold statement of independence and cultural pride. What makes the 1939 halfpenny so rare is that it straddled this transitional period. Only a very small number were minted before the switch was finalized, and as a result, examples of the 1939 issue with the kangaroo reverse are exceedingly scarce. Many were lost to circulation, where their historical significance was not immediately recognized, and over time, surviving examples dwindled to a tiny handful. To discover one in high-grade condition today is nothing short of extraordinary. The artistry of the kangaroo reverse only deepens its desirability. Unlike the earlier plain Commonwealth design, the kangaroo exudes vitality, movement, and character, embodying the nation's spirit of resilience on the brink of World War II. Paired with the portrait of King George VI on the obverse, the coin symbolizes continuity amidst change, a young monarch presiding over a nation, asserting its individuality while remaining part of the empire. Collectors pursue this coin with unmatched intensity, aware that opportunities to acquire it are rare. Auction records consistently tell stories of bidding battles, where seasoned investors and passionate numismatists push prices ever higher, driven by both the coin's scarcity and its symbolic importance. The record valuation of $88,500 reflects not only its rarity but also its elevated place in Australia's cultural narrative. It is a coin that speaks to national identity, artistry, and historical transformation. From an investment standpoint, the 1939 halfpenny is regarded as one of the most secure acquisitions in the Australian rare coin market. Its unique status as the first kangaroo reverse ensures its appeal will never diminish. As time passes and the number of surviving specimens remains static, demand will only increase. For investors, this coin is more than a collectible. It is a cultural asset whose appreciation is underpinned by historical inevitability. Ultimately, the 1939 Australian one halfpenny is more than a relic of bronze. It is a bridge between two eras, the last echo of the old Commonwealth design and the first bold leap into distinctly Australian symbolism. Its breathtaking valuation of nearly $90,000 is no accident. It reflects the coin's unmatched rarity, its artistry, and its role as a cornerstone of Australia's numismatic heritage. For those fortunate enough to possess it, ownership is not just an investment, but a privilege, offering a direct link to one of the most defining chapters in the nation's coinage story. Number 5. 1916 Australian one halfpenny. The 1960 Australian one halfpenny is a numismatic treasure of immense prestige, a coin whose rarity and historical associations elevate it to a league of its own. Valued at an astonishing $124,000, it is one of the most expensive Australian bronze coins ever recorded, a symbol of rarity, craftsmanship, and historical resonance that continues to inspire fierce competition among collectors. The year 1916 was unlike any other in Australian history. The Great War was raging in Europe, and Australia, as part of the British Empire, was deeply involved, both militarily and economically. Domestic production of coinage was under strain, and the demand for small denomination currency was high. To meet this demand, the Royal Mint in London and its branches in Calcutta and Bombay were called upon to strike Australian coins. As a result, a small portion of the 1916 halfpennies bore distinctive mint marks that linked them to these foreign mints. Among these, the 1916 halfpenny struck in Calcutta with the tiny I mint mark became the ultimate rarity. Only a minute number were ever produced, and fewer still have survived the passage of time. This 1916 I halfpenny is what drives the astronomical value associated with the year, transforming an ordinary bronze denomination into one of the most coveted coins in the Southern Hemisphere. Its rarity is amplified by the fact that for decades, many collectors did not even realize the significance of the tiny mint mark. Countless examples were spent, lost, or worn beyond recognition. Only in later years did numismatists identify the Calcutta strikes as unique, by which time the surviving population had shrunk to a mere handful. To hold one today is to possess not just a coin, but a piece of numismatic legend. The design, while sharing the standard obverse portrait of King George 50 and the Commonwealth reverse, takes on heightened meaning in this context. The coin is not simply a tool of commerce, it is a physical artifact from a year when Australia and its allies were enduring the darkest days of war. Each surviving example feels like a relic of endurance, a reminder of how global events shaped even the smallest details of daily life. Collectors who pursue the 1916 halfpenny know they are chasing more than rarity, they are chasing history. The coin's 110th 400 auction record stands as proof of the lengths enthusiasts and investors will go to secure it. Each sale is more than a transaction, it is an event, drawing global attention and reaffirming the coin's reputation as a numismatic masterpiece. From an investment perspective, the 1916 halfpenny is virtually untouchable in terms of stability. Its rarity is absolute, its demand unrelenting, and its historical significance unshakable. Unlike coins whose value can fluctuate with trends, this halfpenny occupies permanent prestige, ensuring its long-term desirability. Investors see it as a cornerstone acquisition, comparable to blue-chip stocks in the financial world, an asset that not only holds its value, but consistently appreciates. In conclusion, the 1916 Australian one halfpenny is more than a currency relic. It is a legend. Its survival is miraculous, its value record-breaking, and its symbolism profound. It bridges Australia's wartime struggles, the complexities of foreign minting, and the evolution of national coinage. To own one is to hold a piece of history that transcends its humble denomination, an artifact worth far more than its bronze weight, celebrated instead as a timeless treasure of Australian heritage and numismatic excellence. Number 4, 1938 Australian one halfpenny. The 1938 Australian one halfpenny is one of the crown jewels of the nation's coinage history. A coin so scarce and so steeped in significance that it has reached a record valuation of $148,600 at auction. Its staggering price reflects not just its rarity, but also its profound importance as a transitional issue, the very first Australian halfpenny struck under the reign of King George VI, and one of the rarest bronze coins ever released into circulation. The year 1938 was pivotal in Australian numismatics. Following the abdication of King Edward VIII in 1936, King George VI ascended to the throne, ushering in a new era of coinage. For Australian mints, this transition meant creating entirely new dies featuring the portrait of the new monarch. Yet, in this year of change, the production of halfpennies was unusually limited. Only a very small number were struck, making the 1938 issue a legendary rarity from the very moment of its creation. Collectors prize this coin for its extraordinary scarcity and top condition. Halfpennies were heavily circulated during the 1930s and 1940s, as they were indispensable for everyday commerce. Most examples of the 1938 issue were worn down by years of handling, leaving very few survivors with sharp details, strong luster and intact surfaces. To encounter one in uncirculated grade is to come face with one of the rarest Opportunities in Australian numismatics. The design of the 1938 halfpenny carries additional weight. The obverse features the dignified effigy of King George VI, a monarch who would preside over some of the most turbulent years of the 20th century, including World War II. The reverse retained the bounding kangaroo motif, which had been introduced only the year before in 1937, making this coin an emblem of national pride, modernity and resilience. Together, the obverse and reverse designs symbolize both continuity and renewal. A young king paired with an enduring Australian emblem. What elevates the 1938 halfpenny beyond simple rarity is the fierce competition it sparks in the marketplace. Whenever one of these elusive coins surfaces at a major auction, it immediately becomes the centerpiece of the event. Collectors, investors, and even institutions recognize that chances to acquire one are vanishingly rare. The 148,600 valuation was not a fluke. It was the natural result of high demand meeting virtually non-existent supply. For serious numismatists, this coin represents the ultimate test of patience, resources and dedication. From an investment standpoint, the 1938 halfpenny is a prime example of how numismatic rarities appreciate over time. Its dual qualities of scarcity and historical significance guarantee long-term stability and value. It is not subject to market fads because its importance is anchored in permanent historical and cultural contexts. For investors, it is often described as a blue-chip rarity, comparable to owning a rare gemstone or a masterpiece of fine art, an object of enduring beauty and value. In essence, the 1938 Australian one halfpenny is more than a coin. It is a statement of history, sovereignty and artistry. Its sky-high valuation of nearly $150,000 reflects its status as one of the most important bronze issues ever struck in Australia. To own one is to hold a piece of numismatic royalty, a coin that transcends its humble denomination and stands as a beacon of rarity, prestige, and enduring national identity. Number 3. 1915 Australian one halfpenny. Among the towering legends of Australian numismatics, the 1915 Australian one halfpenny commands a place of supreme reverence, with an extraordinary auction value of $225,000. This coin is more than just a rare artifact. It is a symbol of wartime resilience, foreign minting complexity, and one of the greatest numismatic enigmas in the Commonwealth's Bronze series. The year 1915 was one of the darkest in Australia's history. The nation was deeply embroiled in World War I, and coin production was severely disrupted. To meet demand, much of the minting was outsourced to overseas facilities, particularly the Calcutta Mint in India. While halfpennies continued to be produced, the 1915 issue struck in Calcutta with the eye, mintmark became an anomaly of breathtaking rarity. Very few were ever released into circulation, and their survival rate is almost negligible. For decades, the existence of the 1915 halfpenny was barely acknowledged outside of specialist numismatic circles. It circulated quietly, indistinguishable from ordinary halfpennies unless one noticed the tiny I mint mark denoting its Indian origin. Over time, as collectors began to identify and document these elusive coins, their true scarcity became evident. By then, however, the surviving population had already dwindled to a mere handful. Today, the 1915 halfpenny is rightly regarded as one of the ultimate rarities of Australian bronze coinage. The coin's design carries even greater weight when understood in context. On the obverse cites the portrait of King George V, who presided over a global empire in crisis, while the reverse displays the classical Commonwealth of Australia inscription with the denomination at the center. At first glance, it appears ordinary, yet it's extraordinary. Rarity lies in the details, specifically the foreign mint origin and the historical circumstances of its production. Each surviving specimen is thus not only a numismatic treasure, but also a wartime relic, a silent witness to Australia's sacrifices on the battlefield and at home. The market for this coin is as fierce as its reputation suggests. Whenever one surfaces at auction, it attracts global attention from collectors, investors and museums alike. Its record valuation of $225,000 is a testament to its stature as a once-in-a-lifetime acquisition. Unlike more common rarities, the 1915 halfpenny cannot simply be hunted down with time and patience. It requires extraordinary luck, timing and resources. It is in every sense a pinnacle piece. From an investment perspective, the 1915 halfpenny represents one of the safest havens in numismatics. Its rarity is absolute, its demand insatiable, and its historical context irreplaceable. As each passing decade reduces the number of surviving specimens through natural attrition, its exclusivity only grows. Investors who secure one are not just purchasing a coin, they are acquiring a permanent place in the elite ranks of numismatic history. In conclusion, the 1915 Australian one halfpenny is a masterpiece of rarity and significance. Its six-figure valuation underscores its unparalleled scarcity, while its wartime origins and foreign minting background imbue it with layers of historical meaning. For collectors, it is the ultimate challenge. For investors, it is a cornerstone of value. For historians, it is a relic of sacrifice and resilience. To own this coin is to hold a piece of Australian history that transcends monetary worth, standing instead as a timeless treasure of national and global heritage. Number 2. 1923 Australian one halfpenny. The 1923 Australian one halfpenny stands as a titan among rarities, a coin so revered in numismatic circles that its very mention stirs admiration and awe, with auction prices reaching an extraordinary $310,000. This coin is more than just a collector's item, it is a national treasure, an icon of rarity, and one of the most prestigious bronze issues ever struck on Australian soil. The story of the 1923 halfpenny is one defined by scarcity born from circumstance. In that year, Australia was transitioning its coinage production between mints, and the Melbourne Mint struck only a very small number of halfpennies. Estimates suggest that as few as 15,000 pieces were produced, an almost negligible mintage, compared to the millions of coins usually struck for circulation. This tiny output was not recognized as significant at the time. The coins entered commerce without fanfare, serving as humble instruments of daily trade. Yet as the years passed, their absence became glaringly obvious to collectors, transforming the 1923 halfpenny into a legend. Its rarity in any condition is extraordinary, but in high grade it is almost mythical. Most of the few survivors show signs of heavy circulation, worn down from years of handling before their significance was understood. Only a handful of pristine examples are known, each regarded as a priceless treasure. When such a specimen appears at auction, it immediately becomes the centerpiece of the event, sparking intense bidding wars as collectors and investors vie for ownership of what is arguably the most famous bronze coin in Australian numismatics. The design itself is understated, yet powerful. The obverse carries the portrait of King George V, a monarch synonymous with Australia's formative years, while the reverse features the classic Commonwealth of Australia motif, its simplicity belying the immense value it would one day carry. What makes this coin remarkable is not any variation of design, but the sheer improbability of its survival. Each specimen that surfaces today is not only a coin but a miracle of preservation, a relic of chance that escaped being lost to time. Market performance of the 1923 halfpenny has been consistently breathtaking. Over the decades, its value has only climbed, reflecting the ironclad law of supply and demand. With so few in existence and demand extending far beyond Australia's shores, each appearance in the marketplace is a global event. Investors view it as a numismatic blue diamond, one of those ultra-rare artifacts that transcends its category to become a store of wealth and prestige in its own right. For Australians, this coin holds particular pride. It represents a period of national growth and transition, embodying the challenges of the early 20th century as the young Commonwealth defined itself on the world stage. For collectors, it is the ultimate prize of the bronze series, the piece that completes a collection and elevates it from remarkable to legendary. Its valuation of $310,000 is not merely a figure, it is a testament to its eternal desirability, a reflection of how rarity and history together can elevate a humble denomination into an icon of extraordinary worth. Number 1. 1930 Australian one halfpenny. At the pinnacle of Australian halfpenny rarities sits the 1930 Australian one halfpenny, a coin whose almost mythical status has cemented it as one of the most valuable bronze issues in the nation's history, with auction values soaring to an astonishing $470,000. It is the undisputed monarch of the series, a coin that embodies rarity, historical significance, and enduring prestige in equal measure. The tale of the 1930 halfpenny is inseparable from the era in which it was born. The early 1930s were defined by the Great Depression, a time of economic hardship and social upheaval that left few untouched. Demand for coinage had fallen sharply as unemployment and poverty spread, and as a result, minting of certain denominations was drastically curtailed. The halfpenny, a small denomination coin essential for everyday commerce in better times, was struck in vanishingly small numbers in 1930, so small, in fact, that the issue passed almost unnoticed at the time, only later emerging as one of the most elusive pieces in Australian numismatics. Unlike the more widely known 1930 penny, the halfpenny's rarity is compounded by its obscurity. For decades, collectors overlooked it, focusing instead on more visible rarities. Yet as awareness grew and records were studied, it became clear that the 1930 halfpenny was one of the ultimate sleepers in the coin world, a coin with a microscopic mintage and survival rate hidden in plain sight. Its extreme scarcity is now recognized, and today it stands as the pinnacle of Australian bronze rarities. The design is consistent with its predecessors, the portrait of King George V on the obverse, the simple Commonwealth reverse on the back. What sets it apart is not its design, but its context. Each 1930 halfpenny is a relic of survival during one of the bleakest chapters in global economic history. It is a piece that speaks not only to numismatic rarity but to resilience, scarcity, and the unpredictability of history itself. When a 1930 halfpenny surfaces at auction, it electrifies the numismatic world. Collectors and investors alike recognize that this is not simply a coin, it is a legend, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to secure one of the rarest Australian coins ever struck. Its $470,000 valuation reflects both its rarity and the feverish demand it generates. Bidding wars are intense, fueled by the understanding that opportunities to own such a piece may not arise again for years or even decades. As an investment, the 1930 halfpenny is virtually unmatched. Its rarity is absolute, its symbolism profound, and its status iconic. It is the kind of coin that transcends numismatics to enter the realm of cultural heritage, comparable to a rare painting, an ancient manuscript, or a flawless gemstone. Ownership is not just about financial value. It is about prestige, history, and a sense of connection to something greater than oneself. In conclusion, the 1930 Australian one halfpenny is the ultimate rarity, the undisputed number one in the pantheon of Australian bronze coins. Its record valuation of nearly $500,000 underscores its unchallenged supremacy. For collectors, it is the final frontier. For investors, it is the ultimate blue-chip asset. And for Australians, it is a numismatic crown jewel, a humble coin elevated by history into one of the nation's most enduring treasures.